Yeah, like I said just 5 minutes ago, talking about this game, like kind of out of line here because I brought this game up before you ready for me to
Oh,
bring
that's
it up.
okay.
I think
No worries.
A&M can actually go into Death Valley and still a win here. Clemson did it last year. They went on the road to Texas A&M. That game was a great game, a close game. Clemson pulled it off at the end. I think A&M can actually return the favor today.
Just because they're in the top 25, that's why we're going to talk about this game. We got Central Michigan at number 17, Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor has 23 career games of at least 100 rushing yards, fourth most in Wisconsin history with 100 yards against Central Michigan. Taylor will tie Anthony Davis for the third most in school history. Not a lot to talk about this, but other than they're in the top 25, Central Michigan at number 17, Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, it's basically a bye week for Wisconsin. Jonathan Taylor is about the only Heisman candidate that's not a quarterback, and he had a big game last week. He's going to do the same this week. He's probably going to rush for over 200 yards against Central Michigan. So a bye week for Wisconsin, and Wisconsin could actually win the Big Ten this year.
Okay, so we talk about the top 25. Coming in at number 25 is Nebraska, and they can't happen to come in the top 10 about the same time that Rutgers did. They're at Colorado. Nebraska has 2 defensive touchdowns in its season opener after scoring a defensive touchdown last season. I'm sorry. The last time the Cornhuskers scored a defensive touchdown in back-to-back games was in 2010.
I think Nebraska is on the up and up. I think Scott Frost is going to have that program turned around here quickly. They got their first win of the season last week, obviously, it's first game of the year, but it took them to like game 6 or 7 last season to actually get their first win under Scott Frost. So that's the only reason why I bring that stat up. I think they're a bold team this year. I think 7 or 8 wins. I think Nebraska gets the job done today.
Okay. We always got to talk about Alabama, so let's just get it off. Let's just get it off the table. New Mexico comes into Alabama. New Mexico State has never beaten an AP top 5 team ever, and so if this happens, we're going to be talking not about Appalachian State again. We're going to be talking about New Mexico State. This is not going to happen, but Alabama is in the top 25 quite clearly. Number 2, they host New Mexico State. Again, bye week for Alabama.
Yeah, that's not going to happen today. It's not even going to happen halfway through the first quarter. That game's going to be over probably. So, I'm fine with Bama playing New Mexico State. Notre Dame gets a team or two, lower tier Division I. But when you go look at Alabama's schedule, the only thing I have a problem with it is when they play teams like this, and they also play FCS schools. And that drives me insane. I think any team that plays FCS, and New Mexico State's obviously Division I, FBS, but when you play FCS also, you should be not eligible for the playoff, and that drives me nuts. I know the argument is, they're in the playoff every year, and nobody could beat them once they get in the playoff anyway, even though Clemson proved that wrong last year. But still, if you play FCS schools, if they're on your schedule, you're disqualified for the playoff. I mean, you don't see the NFL midway through the season playing Canadian football teams, so don't do it in college football. I mean, it's so dumb. So I know they're going to give these schools $1 million so they can beat the crap out of them, but if you do that, you shouldn't be eligible for the playoff.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. You do know that this is a fundraiser for the other schools. So this is a fundraiser for New Mexico State, for example. Just like it's a fundraiser for Murray State at number 3, Georgia. Not a lot to talk about. Jack Foreman, 24-5 since taking over Georgia's quarterback in week 2 of 2017. I'm sorry. And I know that Georgia is a team that Notre Dame is watching closely, because that is going to be the determination whether or not you guys get in the playoffs or not. When I say you guys, I mean Notre Dame. But Murray State at Georgia, number 3.
Yeah, just like Notre Dame is on a bye this week, so is Georgia. So that's another FCS school that, like I just talked about, Murray State is not Division I in football. So when you schedule these teams like that, you shouldn't be allowed in the playoff. I don't care what you do all year. So it's like having multiple bye weeks. Why have a practice game? Why, it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, it's a fundraiser for Murray State, basically.
So when you say that, do you believe the same thing about Notre Dame when they have these type of games in their schedule?
Notre Dame doesn't have those games. They don't schedule FCS schools.
Okay, valid point. All right.
Yeah.
Never ask a Notre Dame fan anything.
Well, just look at the schedule. Go back in their history. They don't schedule FCS schools. They don't go down a talent like that. They don't go down a division to play a football game. Every school that they schedule is Division I. Now, sometimes it might be lower tier, like they play New Mexico next week, but they're not FCS.
But
FBS.
We could get into this argument another day, another time. But Notre Dame's not even in a freaking conference in football.
That doesn't matter. I mean, why do you need a conference? Why do you need a conference championship game?
Well,
you
okay,
had Clemson versus Pitt last year in the ACC championship, but
if
you
don't need a
conference.
Rick, if you don't need a conference,
but we already knew Clemson
why are they
the best team in the ACC?
Why are they
it's
in
a
the
money
ACC
grab.
in
That's
basketball?
all it is.
Why is Notre Dame in the ACC in basketball?
Because I feel like it's different in basketball because you have that big tournament at the end. You have the big tournaments. In football, it's a different gig. You only get 12 games a year to prove your point. You don't need a 13th game like a conference championship game to show like how good you've been all year. Like my point is, Clemson played Pitt last year in the ACC championship game. Pitt had 4 or 5 losses, and Clemson's Clemson, undefeated. We didn't need to see Clemson versus Pitt to know who the best team in the ACC was. So I don't understand the point in conference championship games. Get rid of all conference championship games and expand the playoff. That is the best way to do it.
Why is Notre Dame in the ACC in baseball?
And they're in the Big Ten.
My point being,
in
Rick, is
hockey.
they're in the ACC in everything but football. In
No,
other words,
that's
everything else,
because
all the rules apply to all the other college universities except for Notre Dame football. No.
But when you schedule FCS schools and you do it twice a year, that's like only playing 10 games instead of 12. So why play the extra conference championship game? It makes no sense.
Welcome back to the Balance, Rick Riggin. Good to have you back.
They're pointless. Conference championship games are pointless.
Let's keep it up. Let's keep it going. Northern Colorado at number 22, Washington State. Now, Rick, here's something you might agree with me on. I think Northern Colorado could beat Washington State today.
I do not agree with you on that. I think Mike Leach is going to beat them by 50 points today.
No, there's not even a line.
Yeah.
There's not even a line set yet.
Well, why would there be a line? Because it's going to be a 50-point blowout. So, of course, there's no line set for it.
Well, the Cougars have lost 2 of their last 4 games against FCS opponents. Just saying.
FCS, they've lost 2 of the last 4 against FCS schools. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
See?
Well, they ain't going to happen today.
All right, let's see what happens with Jalen Hurts today. Oklahoma and South Dakota. Again, we're talking about these games that really don't matter in the big scheme of things, but because they are in the top 25, number 4 Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts leads FBS QBs with 176 yards. Only 5 QBs in the last 10 seasons have reached 300 yards within their team's 2 games. South Dakota at Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is clearly going to win this game by a whole bunch. I think Oklahoma needs to use this game to work on their defense because their defense is just really terrible. Maybe you don't need much defense so you can score 50 points a game, but I think they should just use this game to work on their defensive scheme because they have 0 defense at Oklahoma. So maybe a school like South Dakota is a good practice squad to try to teach some defensive players how to tackle and learn some defensive schemes or something there. They should use this game to work on defense.
South Dakota in that? Or no, wait a minute. No. Aaron Rodgers went to North Dakota and that's South Dakota, right? That's right. How bad?
Aaron Rodgers went to Cal. He went to Cal.
Are you sure about that?
100%. You're thinking Carson Wentz went to North Dakota State.
That's who I'm thinking of. You're right. I'm sorry. My bad.
Of course. I know.
That's exactly who I was thinking of. But he went to North Dakota, not South Dakota, so the conversation is moot. We've run about out of time. Let's go ahead and talk about number 6, LSU at number 9, Texas. This is going to be the game of the week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I don't know what I want to eat later to watch this game. I don't know if it's chicken wings or grill something, or we'll see what we get Mama cooking later on for this game. But I'm looking forward to this. And I mean, I'm watching Game Day in the background. I have it on mute. I mean, they already have the Undertaker out there making picks for Texas. I know Matthew McConaughey is going to be their guest picker later on. He's obviously going to pick Texas because he's part of like the coaching staff or something now. I have no idea. He's involved with it somehow. But it's cool to see the Undertaker, come out in the smoke and the pyro a little bit ago and pick Texas. So I just think that LSU gets the win. I know this game's in Austin. It's going to be a hostile environment, but LSU is used to playing in hostile environments because their home stadium is one. I think LSU gets it done.
The bigger question is, a guy like you with a badass boat, a badass grill, a badass backyard has to say, I got to see what I'm going to get Mama to cook up. Really? Give me your freaking man card, bro.
Yeah, nope.
Hey, I saw your, not to divert here, but I saw your Facebook cover the other day, or Twitter, I don't know what it was, and you guys were at a Notre Dame game with your 2 young kids. Now, I know your kids are pretty near grown now. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like
that is, man,
it's
what
like
was
I've known
that?
this
5
guy
or 6
forever.
years ago. Yeah, that was actually 4, 5, 6 years ago. That was the game against LSU in Nashville. That is my background cover on my Facebook. So, but yeah, they're grown now. I mean, my son's I don't know, he's like 4 or 5 inches taller than me now. I'm only 5'9". He's like 6 foot. He's.
He looks a lot like the mailman. No, I'm just kidding with you, bro.
You're right. It's probably right.
Well, you certainly outkicked your coverage when it comes to Dina, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just kidding with you. Rick, are you going to stick around for NFL so we get into this?
Yeah, I'll stick around.
Antonio.
Yeah, we have NFL breaking news, by the way, but I'll wait for Ed Kracz to come on.
Oh, maybe you didn't. Do you know something I don't know?
I might. I just might.
Oh goodness. We'll
wait for Ed.
I'm gonna have to bring this out.
That's right.
What are we binging on this week? I tell you what, I finished up the Mayans, ready for season 2 of the Mayans. I'm gonna let it circulate for a few weeks so that I've got something to binge on. And I know I'm way out past everything, and it's way over, and it's been over for a while. But I love that show, Last Ship, so I've been catching up on that. But
yeah, I don't know that one.
There's nothing. It's not like Stranger Things, and some of the shows that we really love to binge on. But there's a great show on Netflix called. Okay, it's kind of like Mayans, but it's like the Irish people. It's called Peaky Peaks.
Oh, Peaky Blinders.
Oh, that is good. I just started watching it. I'm like episode 3 into season 1. Have you seen that?
I have not. I've heard of it. We just got done with season 2 of Mindhunter. If you haven't watched that, it's a great show.
Oh yeah. Well, I absolutely like some. Want an egg salad sandwich? They make really good egg salad sandwiches here. You want? Remember that? Remember that scene where he's in the prison?
Yeah, I do.
Hey, you want an egg salad sandwich? They make really good egg salad sandwiches here. I'm into that. So we're going to start a somewhat of a segment called "What Are You Binging On?" and we'll create a whole thing on that, Rick Riggin. Rick, we're going to take a break.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back because we've got this.